I received a question from a viewer. He asked me, now that Bitcoin looks like it might start smashing through its all time high, we are in uncharted territory. So the question is, how do you continue to analyze these markets when you enter that uncharted territory? And it's a really good question because you might think that you're kind of out of options and it's going to be hard to make money moving forward, but actually you'd be surprised. And I think that as you start breaking all-time highs, not only does the analysis become so much easier to do, just the overall success rate and dollars earned per, I don't know, joule of energy spent, I think it becomes very high. I think you end up making a lot of money for every additional bit of energy you invest into the market at stages like right now. It's why I'm so excited in this market. And obviously, it's been working very well. Those of you that have been watching this channel for some time now are going to be very familiar with the hugely profitable trades that we've kind of pulled off here on this YouTube channel. We even had a member who was watching this channel become a millionaire for the first time earlier today. So really, really cool stuff here. This is a very important subject, and the key reason that it actually becomes really easy, in my opinion, in my experience, to chart when you start setting all-time highs, is because while yes, you don't have any indication of where you might go on the upside, you do have a few cues which are useful. And much more than that, you have a very, very easy idea of where things might go afterwards, right? And because obviously, even when you're in an uptrend, it's not a straight line up. You do still have pullbacks, and those pullbacks are where you make so much of the money. I mean, and this is something we've spoken about extensively on this channel. Those of you that are subscribed are going to be so familiar with these topics and ideas here that we're about to dive into on this video. Let's go ahead and choose this chart right here because it's the only one that's not misbehaving, and go ahead and check out what this chart looked like back in 2017. I think this is really one of the best ways to do it because if we take a look at the all-time high that Bitcoin set back here at $1,000, this is the most recent long-term, long-lasting trending environment above an all-time high that we've had for a very long time. We haven't actually had significant trends above an all-time high for particularly long since 2016, which is crazy. It's been 8 years and no one's really talking about that because last time when we set the all-time highs above 20K, we only trended for a little bit longer and we were only setting all-time highs for a little bit longer, and then the rest of the bull market was shit. And then it was NFTs and all the other shit munchers that joined afterwards. But here, the reason I think this is interesting is because once you start kind of entering that environment of setting new all-time highs, it's very, very hard to say where you might go. But if we do take a look at where Bitcoin sort of ended up finding a little bit of resistance, it always tended to be around some, relatively obvious numbers. The first one was obviously this all-time high, and we got resistance right here. That's what you would expect, and then the market ended up dropping. But it gets a lot better than that. If we go ahead and change what our lines are looking like just for the purposes of this video, what I want to show you is the next levels that Bitcoin topped out at, and one of them is going to be right here at $3,000. Another one's right here at $5,000. Another one is going to be up here at about 7.98K. And you can really start to see that it's some of the most obvious round numbers, right? I mean, over here, you get $3,000 as a macro top. In fact, an earlier top comes in here at 2750, which is also a very, very obvious peak for the market. But again, a very, very nice round number. Up here, we top out at $5,000. What a predictable top for the market. Up here, $8,000. Very, very nice and predictable. The all-time high itself coming in at $20,000, right? So markets, when they're in all-time highs, when they're setting all-time highs, you don't have anything to go off other than psychological numbers. You also get other tools like Fibonacci extensions goes to place. You also get other tools like Fibonacci extensions, which I think are very, very useful because you can start to kind of forecast where the market might go afterwards, but it's not completely foolproof, and it's also not super easy to replicate for everybody. And beyond all of that, I just don't think that they're that reliable. It's not something I would focus too much time on, because even though up to this point we've spent a lot of time talking about, where the market might top, as you said, all-time highs, I showed you earlier why it's not important. And the more important thing is when the market pulls back. And the reason that becomes more important is because this is where the trading opportunities are. And there are going to be so many of these in this market, ladies and gents. If you're looking for a place to trade in this market, Bybit's going to be one of the best places in the game. They're giving you up to and over actually $30,000 in free trading capital when you begin trading using my link right here. Bluefin is giving you even more aggressive offers when you start trading using this link in the description below. And it's very, very, it's a very powerful exchange, right? A lot of the other exchanges out there, not including Bybit's another powerful one, but a lot of them out there, they've white labeled their technology. They don't stand on their own. They're not particularly anti-fragile, I guess you could say. Bluefin, Bybit, both kind of creating their own tech, standing on their own, doing very, very well on their own. And offering you huge bonuses. So that's well worth checking out if you're allowed to, if you're not in a restricted region. And this is where the things get exciting, right? Because we were talking about kind of where the market might start topping. But the beautiful thing is we also, once we know these kind of key levels in the market, like, an all-time high, we can also start to pick off where you might, bounce, right? And where you might actually start getting the market bottoming out. And this is the shit that's really interesting. That trade I was showing you guys just a couple of minutes ago, both trades actually, the Bitcoin trade up here that we've been speaking about, you can pause this and kind of check out my screenshot if you want to read it closely. Same for my TRX position, which is at over 1100% profit. Both of these trades were made on the same idea, which is exactly the same as this, which is that, we ended up trending a little bit higher, but I knew that we had an area of support where the market could kind of bounce off of and then continue to trend higher. And it only makes sense. It's very natural that bounce level is going to be the same level that we were previously finding resistance, right? I mean, we know this is kind of page 1, chapter 1 of any technical analysis book, which is that, old resistance can turn into new support. And so this stuff starts becoming really, really predictable, is my point. And, if we come back to the present day market, we have so much of that right now. One of the earlier videos I just put out, and those of you that have missed it, you've missed it because you're not subscribed. So you've got to make sure that you're interacting with these beautiful buttons if you want to show the algorithm that you like this channel and you want to get more of it. You're going to know this if you are subscribed, that this level is important for so many different reasons. It's the point of control for this entire price zone. Let me very, very quickly demonstrate that for you guys again, just in case you've missed it. Look at that red line right alongside my yellow line right here. A big spike here for the VPVR. So this entire box, lots and lots going on in this price range. But it's also where the daily Ichimoku cloud is going to end up within kind of the next month and a half or even less than that. And I know that sounds very far away, but we are talking about what happens if Bitcoin starts setting all-time highs. And a big part of setting all-time highs is that you trend up and then you correct downwards and then you continue going up again. And when we look for potential zones where the market might want to come back down to capture a little bit of support, 67K is such an important price level right now, and I think it's going to continue to be an important price level for a long time. The really funny thing about the Ichimoku cloud is that when you're trending, it starts getting really far away. I mean, we are, from the tip of this Ichimoku cloud, we are 29 days and $8,000 away from this cloud. I mean, it is far away to get to this cloud right now. And, I think that makes people feel like, it's not really that important sometimes. But actually what happens is that you're kind of doing your thing. Everything's super hectic, left, right, center, up and down. And then you end up kind of in a very nasty downtrend. You start kind of, finding yourself falling down a little bit. But lo and behold, you trusted Ichimoku cloud, the guy that's got your back, is there to save you because this indicator is slowly but surely creeping forward and painting more support as time goes on. So 67, clearly I think a very, very important level. I would not be surprised at all if the market ended up revisiting this level, whether that happens now before we set an all-time high or after we potentially set an all-time high. It's levels like that I'd be watching out for. And it's also just going to be previous levels that have been very important. like this all-time high. I mean, the fact that we're struggling right now is so good, because it means that if we eventually do break out, it's going to be such an obvious support level for the market to come back down to and enjoy it as support, as a little bit of a pit stop before moving back. And again, the reason that this is such a big deal, and the reason that this is so much more interesting in terms of the uncharted territory that we're in, is that this is unlimited fucking upside, ladies and gents. That Bitcoin trade that I've been telling you about, over 2,300% profit, where I put in just over 100 grand and I'm walking away with well over 250k in profit now as well. The reason that that trade was possible was because I saw the market returning down to a support level, and I said, I think that this thing can go way higher. And the thing about being in a bull market is that you literally have unlimited downside, right? You can make more than 100% profit in an uptrend, but in a downtrend, you can't move down more than 100%. So you have literally unlimited earning potential if you're trading this type of move. And by the way, because I've been a little bit kind of, I haven't been cryptic about it, I'm just assuming that you know, but you might be a new viewer. If you're not familiar, my long entry on Bitcoin was basically right along here, this tiny yellow box. This was my long entry right here. And the reason that it worked so well was because the market kept trending up, and I had no reason to close it right up until now, on the day where we're starting to, start inching toward those all-time highs and starting to break them all-time highs. It's been, nearly 600 days now, and I just, I expected that this position was going to keep on paying me, so I kept my position open. It's that simple. It's not anything more complicated than that. If I think that my position might keep on making me money, then I'm going to stay in my position. And if we're in a bull market and I bought a support level, then guess what? I can stay in that long position for as long as I bloody well like, and I'll keep on getting paid for it. It's a really powerful, very important position to be in. And to be honest, it's the key position that any trader wants to find themselves in, because it means that they continue to get paid for work that they did a very, very long time ago. That's exactly the kind of opportunity. I'm not going to say your name just in case you don't want me to, but that's exactly the kind of opportunity that opens up when you start charting in this more uncharted territory. And it's the much better type of opportunity that we want, because it's going to be so much easier. It's going to be so much easier to take one of these trades. Ghost, place. Getting distracted by the dog a little bit. It's going to be so much easier to take advantage of any of these situations in the market here, and that's going to be because we know where those support levels are going to be. And naturally, the market typically doesn't fall down to brand new price levels that it's never been to, right? Let's say that we're kind of setting all-time highs from here. Typically, let's say if the market did something a little bit like this, I wouldn't expect it to just randomly find support here and then to continue to go up. We could do that, and that is going to happen, mind you. That is going to happen. But you do also get your pullbacks. And stuff like this, you can't really predict that the market's going to, bounce off here, because, we've literally never traded there before. But it's a lot easier to say that the market's going to bounce off a previous all-time high. And by the way, as you're going up, one of the other beautiful things that happens, and we've seen this in the previous bull cycle when Bitcoin broke $20,000 here, is that you also start establishing a little bit of a kind of consolidation zone where you go, right? And this consolidation zone is what gets really interesting, because you've got a new potential kind of area of interest in the market. And if the market does kind of start correcting, you might start to expect that previous zones where the market traded sideways, that's where the market can kind of grab some support and continue going higher. It didn't work on this occasion here, but it did work if you get a little bit higher. We're not going to get too deep into those intricacies right now, but you do definitely start to see that, if the market did do something a little bit like this and then continue on, this level could turn out to be support in the future. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And the bottom line is that you don't have to do a lot to make a lot of money in these kind of environments. And I think that above all is what makes this stuff so interesting, whether it's Bitcoin or altcoins, because there's so many opportunities that are taking shape in this market right now. I think that it's looking pretty darn sweet. We've been so accurate about all of this on this channel. So if you've been watching, you're going to be seeing all of these beautiful real-time updates, which have been 100% correct on this channel here. Very, very cool stuff. I hope you have enjoyed and appreciated it. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Smash up those likes, subscribe, tick the bell, get your offers here. Tons and tons of free cash when you start trading. Check them all out if you're allowed to, if your country allows for it. Then be my guest. There is a ton up here for grabs in terms of free money. Very, very tradable stuff here. and any profits that you generate are going to be yours to keep. So that's good stuff. Let's move it back to the charts here just one final time, and I think, yeah, it's looking pretty damn sweet right now. It might not happen. If it doesn't happen, I've made another video talking about my plans on if Bitcoin crashes, and if you haven't already seen that, then definitely make sure you go ahead and check that out, because I think that one's really interesting. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.